A year to the day. Henry takes bird sips of whiskey as the fire at his feet snaps, crackles and pops like Lou's favourite cereal. Its warmth is a hug from the cold, biting at the windows and clawing at the gaps beneath the doors, trying to reach in at him any way that it can to peel the ember embrace away and make him feel as cold as his heart has done ever since everything was taken away from him. A year to the day. The pine sap scent of the tree doesn't dress the corner. The crooning carols of Dean Martin lost to silence. The musk of loneliness replaces the roast aromas that should be drifting through the house on lulling drafts of steam. The bright greens and brighter reds replaced by dark corners only flickered away by lonely dwindling forks of flame. Everything is different now that Henry has only had the deliriums of better time to keep him company for a year to the day. All he can think about is time and how it has quickly become the most prevalent thing in his life since that clear, cloudless night. The screech of rubber peeling against the pitted tarmac of the country lane. The twisted metal crunch of the engine block being pushed up through the floor between the pedals the moment Lou's minivan slammed into the tree. The woody branch snaps. Not from the wounded bark, but from their breaking bones. The torn screams of his scared children turn to the gurgling desperations of tiny, drowning lungs. All sounds that now tear apart his nights and leave his days in fractured puzzle pieces impossible to put back together again. Days that are now nothing more than a simple counting down process to help eliminate each and every one that he now has left without his family. Henry would give anything to have them back. He would do anything to erase that night and start all over again. Anything. In his lap is the Christmas tree headed paper Benji and Lilly had written all 7 of their letters to Santa on. This year the pages will not see the material wish list of his beautiful children, but instead the one simple dream of their desperate parent. Henry stares at the blank page. Is there even any use? Will he not have better luck clapping his hands together and dropping to his knees like he did by their bedsides on that terrible night, with their lives hanging on fragile bleeping wires going flat one at a time? Not one god, not one had answered his prayers then. So could there really be the chance that this festive bearded deity could be different, or was hope just as fabled as them all? He downs his whiskey, and in an attempt at finding the answers he writes, "Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is one more day with my family." He wants to write their names out individually, but even in ink that would be a reminder all too painful. So he folds a paper, slides it into one of the envelopes already printed with the big man's address on it, kisses it shut like Lilly always did, and takes his last thin piece of hope out into the frosty night. Slipping the letter through the slot in the postbox, he wonders if that night will ever fade from his mind, or if it will only drill deeper into him until it tears him apart completely. The letter falls from his fingertips. The world spins, his legs unhinge, and he drops to his knees, sobbing, just like he did a year ago to the day. The dawn draws the curtains on another sleepless night. The pink watercolour streaks daubing the pale blue sky tell him that the sun won't be around for much longer. There's more snow looming in the heavy grey plumes billowing up from the horizon. He slides his feet into his slippers and wraps Lou's dressing gown around him as he prepares for another lonely day. The smell of her still clings to its fibres. He hugs it tight around him and sniffs deeply. It's such a vivid smell, even after all this time. He can almost imagine her there with him as he walks downstairs. Black logs smoulder in the living room hearth. Next to the empty bottle of whiskey sits his empty glass, and slipped beneath that is an envelope with his name written on the front in careful calligraphic cursive he doesn't recognise. Each character alternating seamlessly between red and green. Even sober, he knows his hand would never be as steady or as neat. He He surveys the living room with quick, jittering eyes. All the windows are closed and latched. Outside is nothing but undisturbed snow. Not even the twiggy-stuttered steps of tiny birds, or the perfect stepping-stone prints of stalking foxes mar the pristine blanket of glistening white. But there, staining the carpet in front of the fireplace, are two sooty footprints, twice the size of his own. Henry lifts the glass with tentative fingers, as if it might shatter in his quivering grip, and he finds a sooty fingerprint has been left on the top right corner of the letter, where a stamp would normally go. The identifying lines are not the usual patterns and swirls of any normal fingerprint, but instead they come together to form tiny squares like miniature presents. Red wax has sealed the letter closed at the back. The imprint pressed into it looks like a barber's pole. He runs a finger under the flap to break the seal and pulls a letter out. The paper is so thin he can see his own trembling fingers through it. The writing is the same neat cursive script, coloured with the same hints of Christmas.
Dear Henry, my heart broke when I heard what happened to you and your family. Your home has always been such a feast of festive joy. Oh, I must say I was pleasantly surprised to wake up to one of the same envelopes I used to receive from Benji and Lilly. What kind hearts those children have. Oh, it did sadden me at first not to see the writings of the children, and instead the quite clearly drunken scribbles of their desperate father who, over the years, has drifted away from the nice list and placed himself firmly on the not-so-nice counterpart. Oh, it's wholly understandable how these things happen, Henry. We can't be good all the time now, can we? Thankfully, I am a reasonable man who understands that sometimes life leads us astray. And with Mrs. Claus's help, I have become, in recent years, a very strong believer in retribution. I know your beliefs in hope have waned somewhat, Henry. Therefore, I hope this opportunity I am about to grant you will turn that around. Every year, I pick one child from my naughty list to give a very special gift to. One that helps to facilitate the necessary changes to pull them back from across the naughty to the nice. And this year, Henry, I choose you. Ho, for Christmas this year, Henry Bannerman, it's my wish to grant your one dream come true. But, and this is very important, Henry, you must follow my instructions without deviation, to the T. I am a generous man, but the systems put in place still have to be adhered to, I'm afraid. Oh, I know it seems a tad bureaucratic, but even I, Santa, have to watch my back in this fragile world we live in. However, it isn't a lot I ask of you, Henry. Just read this letter, in full, front and back, and if you agree to everything stated, sign your name in brown sugar at the bottom and throw it into the fire. You do that for me, and voila, your Christmas wish will be granted. I bid you all the happiness, Henry Bannerman, and I hope to hear from you again next year, whatever your choice may be this time. All the best from your friend in the north, Santa Claus.
On the back of the page, the writing is minute and endless beneath the title, Dream Come True, Terms and Conditions. It has to be a joke. But who does Henry know wicked enough to pull something so cruel? Maybe Paul knows something? He's been calling a lot lately. Maybe his brotherly concerns were just to mask something more malicious, or Maybe Hallmark and Hollywood really had nailed it with the idea of Christmas miracles being a thing. And this, right here in his hands, was one of them. He slumps down in his chair and, ignoring the small writing on the back, reads the letter again, stopping to go over his children's names, over and over. Such kind hearts they have. Not had, but have. Such a slight difference by hand, yet impossibly vast in reality. He repeats that word, have, until it loses all meaning, and by the time its meaning finally comes back again, his decision has been made. He jumps up and quickly lights the fire. When the kindling has taken and it is popping out its promise of warmth, he grabs some sugar from the kitchen before he can change his mind. He licks his finger, dips it in, and signs his name in the space provided. Then he chucks it into the fire, where it sits, untouched in the flame for a few seconds, before erupting into a ball of green flame that fills the room with the sweet, minty tang of candy canes. Henry sits watching the flames turn back to normal, allowing himself just a sliver of hope to creep in and kickstart his sputtering heart. After watching the horizon all day, Henry takes himself off to bed early in the hope that sleep will speed up the process of dawning a new, better day. He climbs in under the cold duvet, wondering if the bed will ever stop feeling so empty and making his nights even longer, with only his trembling, troubled thoughts to keep him company in the dark. But it's Christmas Eve. As soon as he pulls the duvet up to his chin, he drops instantly asleep, to find himself walking through the dream world of a snow-encrusted land, where poppies spring up randomly through the crust. The virginal surface sputtered with deep, bloody avidity, denuded trees silhouetted by the eloquent warning of an ominous ruby sky sit upon cracked hilltops, all heavy-limbed and reaching for the floor like wilting skeletons. Sleigh bells gently play along to children's laughter. His feet cut through the snow as he searches for where the laughter is coming from. Poppies brush up against his naked shins and leave warm, sticky smears that mat the hairs together and cling them to his legs. With every step that breaks the surface, the laughter grows louder. A voice calls his name from somewhere beneath the powder at his feet. Henry knows who it is calling out to him, because it's a voice that not even the dementia of 365 tormented days could ever rip from his memory. He drops to his knees and frantically moves snow aside with shoveled hands. Broken poppies bleed through the white as he tears brutal scars into the earth, his hands soaked in fresh blood. Steam rises from them in tendrils that spiral up to kiss the sky. His fingers claw at the rocky earth beneath the snow and are flayed to the bone by the clods of flint-riddled clay. Lou calls his name again. Henry digs faster, harder. His decimating hands, now raw and hurt, land on something soft, something fleshy. He stops and moves the loose rubble aside. There, amongst it all, stares out the same hazel eyes he gazed into on the day he said yes to forever. The same eyes still holding the one soul his is tied to. He drags Lou from the earth. Her naked body is ice cold. The stitches keeping her lips closed stretch when she tries to speak. Congealed beads of jellied blood ooze from the tearing skin as her broken vocal cords produce an odd braying alarm that squeezes out into the still, carmine night. It's a strained, soft warning at first, but when the earth next to her vibrates to sift the snow away, 4 small hands poke through and grasp at the air, twitching like triffids, thirsty for sun. Lou thrashes in Henry's arms, and the sound coming from her blares louder and louder in a ringing that has Henry's ears popping and leaking hot fluid down his neck. He slaps his hands over them and closes his eyes to try and escape the pain drilling through him. After what feels like an eternity gripped in the clutches of that hurt, he pries his eyes open. The blood-drowned skies are gone. The cold, dead earth replaced with the sweat-soaked sheets of his bed. Lou's side, as empty as it forever will be. He leans across and picks up the ringing phone that pulled him from his time with her. There's a strange smell in the air, a familiar smell that Henry's sleepy mind struggles to pinpoint as he listens to the harried voice of his worried brother asking if he's okay.
Hello?
Paul, it's 8 o'clock on Christmas morning, Paul. What's this all about?
Hey, Henry. I've got some really terrible news. Did you remember Colin, the cemetery manager?
Yes, of course I remember Colin. Why the bloody hell wouldn't I?
Henry knows who Colin is. He had to talk to him about the 3 plots at the Sunny Hill Cemetery. He lost it and broke down right there in the man's office. But luckily for Henry, Paul had been there to scrape his dignity up off the floor for him. He did the same at the funeral and at the wake. But the days since had melded into one long string of tear-strained loneliness that no amount of Paul's concern could mend, despite him trying so hard.
Well, I don't know how to say this, mate. But he found their graves dug up this morning. Lou and the kids. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. The police are there now. Are you there, Henry?
Briefly rubbing a hand over his face, Henry questions if this is still all a part of his dream or not. If that perfect landscape is really perfect at all. He looks down at his hands, fully expecting to see the evidence of a dream melding through reality. Grave dirt caking his skin, nails torn ragged by digging earth and clawing through wood. But there's nothing there. His skin is clean. His nails are perfectly neat. Outside, still no footprints scar the sheet of white sparkling brightly beneath the rising sun. No signs of life at all. Just a world clean of anything but a beauty that doesn't seem real. Paul breaks the illusion and pulls Henry back into the room. His voice is too real not to be anything but.
Henry, mate. Are you still there? Henry, can you hear me?
I'm here. Thanks for letting me know.
Henry refusing to leave his house in all this time, surrounding himself with nothing but endless reminders of everything he has lost, has allowed him to fall into a deeply fragile state. And Paul is concerned that this might just be the moment he breaks completely. He's heard Henry flatten like this too many times this past year, but this is far worse. In such a serious situation, why is he acting so dead inside? He knows his brother well enough to know that trying to force him into doing something is the quickest way to get him to pull away, but he has to at least try.
Henry, I'm worried about you. We all are. The boys and Marcy too.
Marcy's worried about me.
Of course she is, mate. You know, she cares about you a lot. Look, Henry, you haven't been yourself lately. I can't imagine how you must be feeling, given everything you've been through. But listen to me. This is serious. Do you understand what's happened?
Is Marcy there with you now?
No, she's at Jolene's getting the food ready for today. Look, you shouldn't be alone right now. I'm going to come over. I'm going to sort my stuff out of the house, drop the boys off at Jolene's, and then we can wait together to see what the police have to say.
Henry watches a robin land on the branch of a holly bush. The chubby little thing perching there next to a cluster of red berries makes for a perfect picture postcard of Christmas that Lou would have loved. There's a flash of red in the front garden when the inflatable Santa Lou always insisted Henry put out there as a jolly greeting for passers-by waves up at him, his chubby hand billowing in the breeze. Had he been so drunk yesterday that he can't remember getting it down from the loft? Did he even drink yesterday? That's when it hits him. Exactly what that smell drifting in under the door is.
Paul, I've got to go now. Thanks for calling.
Henry hears his brother's voice turning tin can through the receiver as he hangs up. In the stillness of the room, the ghostly drifting tones of Dean Martin croon about a white Christmas. It marries perfectly with the scenery outside and the hot mince pie smell seeping in. Tiny footprints rumble down the hallway just outside, and Henry freezes when the ethereal echoes of children's laughter follow. A shadow cuts through the shard of light coming in from the gap beneath the door, and whoever it is out there stops. And then they knock. It can't be. It can't be. Those 3 words repeat through Henry's mind in rapid succession. 3 more knocks, louder this time. Henry's muscles atrophied with fear lock him to the spot. The door rattles in its frame under an onslaught of fists pounding against it.
Daddy!
Suddenly, everything falls still and quiet, and beneath the door, the shadows move away. The crack of light returns, the stairs creak, and 3 separate cries of joy that should be habitually beautiful for this special calendar day come from downstairs in the living room. Henry grips the door handle. It can't be, he thinks. It just can't be. The metal is cold against his sweat-slicked palm as he slowly pulls the door open and engulfs all of his senses unbearably deep in festivities. It's just a cruel trick of a broken mind that, after wanting this moment for so long, has gone and given rise to an illusion. It has to be that, surely. It has to be. At the top of the stairs, afraid to take another step, he leans over the railing. His arms shaking under his weight. He sees shadows move through the living room light, and he hears his little girl's voice. It's really Lilly, not a dream, not his mind breaking. His Lilly is down there, really down there, and that means Benji must be too, and Lou. Henry bounds down the stairs 3 at a time. The grin on his face is so big it threatens to tear his skull in 2 as he runs into the living room, cast in full Christmas clarity by the tree lights torpidly pulsing between their primary colours. Mountains of presents are piled high beneath full pine branches, all adorned with the beautifully crooked decorations Lou sat down and made with the kids year after year. Lily's favourite Ariel doll, a mermaid acting as Angel, is its usual crowning glory. And there, sitting right in front of it all, are Henry's little babies. Their backs to him as they count out how many tags have each of their names on. Lilly is in the same pastel pink princess's dress she insists on wearing each year, even though she's getting far too big for it. A tiara sits wonky on top of her head, its shine lost to all the mud. Her hair is lank, filthy, and in serious need of a shampoo and a comb. Benji is in his Christmas Thomas the Tank pyjamas, every train wearing a Santa hat covered in snow. Both of his children dressed exactly how Henry told the funeral director he wanted them to be, kept forever ready for the day they missed out on. He fights back tears. He wants to run to them and sweep them up in his arms, but his reticence to believe the reality of what he is seeing keeps him in the doorway. He pinches the skin on his forearm and feels a sting in that all too lucid moment. Out loud, he asks how any of this is possible, and Benji's head turns towards the sound of his father's voice. Henry can't hold back his gasp when he sees how pale his son is, the scars crisscrossing the slick and sickly fish belly skin of his face from the minivan's shattered back windows tearing him open, stand out like sewn lines in seamless silk. The beautiful blue of his eyes is lost to total white. His smile is one of complete black rot with dirt crust in the corners. The substance like mouldering mushroom soup oozes from his mouth when he cries out his daddy's name. Lilly turns to him with the same fogged eyes, and as she smiles, a worm writhes out between the gap in her front teeth. Both of them run screaming into Henry's arms and grip him with soft, fragile strength. The stench of earth and decay coming off them both is the most awful smell Henry has ever endured.
Hug us, Daddy. Don't you want to hug us?
The last thing Henry wants to do is touch these things.
Please, Daddy. Please.
Henry reluctantly does what they ask, and he hears a creaking snap like frayed rope coming from Lily's ribs. He feels the impact that broke her spine through the disjointed lumps of the broken vertebrae protruding through her tender flesh. She stares up at him with those dreadful, misty eyes. Her white face a clear sheet of wax paper. Her breath pushes up the funk of soured milk when she tells him that she loves him ever so much. Her voice hoarse and strained from the misplaced seatbelt that broke through the cartilage of her larynx. Henry wants to tell his children that he loves them. He wants to hold them properly, but these creatures, they aren't them. This is not what he wished for. None of this is real. It just can't be. He tries to tell himself to wake up, but nothing works. Either this is all happening within a demented reality, or he is just destined to be lost in a nightmare forever. He hears a sound like snapping wishbones from behind him and turns to see his dead wife hobbling through from the kitchen. A plate of hot mince pies is balanced in her hands. All 10 of her fingers had been snapped back when they flew into the dashboard, and now they all face off in varying directions, like the fingers of badly worn latex gloves. Her legs, having been smashed apart by the engine block, are bent backwards at the knee. Mince pies fall to the floor with dull thuds with every awkward step she laboriously takes. The dress she was buried in hangs loosely from her now that her flesh has withered away to create this ungodly walking skeleton. She smiles with only one side of her mouth. The stitches that kept it sewn shut to keep from spewing embalming fluid when they filled her veins with it still pinch the other side closed. Looking at what she has become makes Henry want to scream. Want to run as fast and as far from this hell and all its demons as he can. But his children grip him tighter, squeezing fear deeper in towards his heart. Dean Martin continues to croon, "I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams." Lou looks at Henry with her empty, colourless eyes, and with the sound of ripping cloth, she smiles and tears out the rest of her stitches. When she takes another stuttering step towards him, the dull pitter-patter of mince pies hitting the floor comes with a cracking of each of her footsteps. The plate she holds shatters when she drops it and raises her broken hands. Moving closer still, the smell of rot and death thickening to unbreathable levels. Both children gaze up at Henry, grinning and giggling as their mother steps even closer. Lou's fingers scrape their ragged nails across Henry's unshaven neck. Her suppurating mouth opens wide to reveal the dry, black lump of her tongue. A spider crawls from beneath it and scurries up her left nostril. Benji points to something above Henry's head, and Henry's heart stops when he sees a mistletoe hanging from the light. "Please, God, no," he thinks, as Lou's hands fumble around the back of his head, her bent fingers tugging roughly at his hair. The smell from her open mouth pouring into him when she clamps her rough, stitch-pitted lips over his is all Henry can taste. He retches, but Lou won't let him go. Her tongue, rough and dry, gouges at his gums, knocking against his teeth like petrified wood, cramming the soured flavour of her down his throat. He begs himself to wake up and for his mind to tear itself away from this nightmare, but it refuses to listen. as Henry Bannerman gets everything he wished for. The children help their mum to tie a screaming Henry to the armchair with strings of fairy lights, because for the finer detailed things, her busted hands are as useless as spaghetti tongs. They plug them in and light them up brighter than the Christmas tree. From then on, the morning goes the same as every other Christmas morning in the Bannerman household. Presents torn through by zealous, excited hands. Eggnog sipped by Lou and mince pies nibbled, all to an old-time Dean Martin serenade. The only difference this year being the laughter accompanying it all is from 3 living corpses. Henry watches his children opening their presents while Lou strokes his hair and knocks back glass after glass of eggnog, getting no drunker because every sip she takes, the white milky liquid squelches out thickly through a jagged hole in her throat, clagging up the tufts of rat fur clinging to the gnawed scabs of chewed skin and washing the dirt of her dress away to white in a fan of alcoholic delight. The children's laps are covered in red strips of torn wrapping paper decorated with a multitude of round-faced Santas, all happy and rosy-cheeked. Every one of them staring up at Henry as he sits there, crying. Benji pulls a dead crow from an unwrapped box. By the way it flops its tiny hands, the thing can't have been dead for very long. He holds it up and takes off across the living room, gliding it limply through the air and making dive bomber sound effects, before throwing it into his sister's lap. Lilly squeals and throws it back at him, its head lolling about on its thin, broken neck.
Oh, now, play nicely, children. Lilly, why don't you open that big present over there?
More eggnog slime oozes from the hole in her throat as she points haphazardly to a present almost the size of the tree. Or at least that's where Henry assumes he's pointing. It's hard to tell with so many angles.
But Mummy, why does she get the biggest one?
She doesn't, darling. It's for your daddy, that one. But I'm sure he won't mind the loves of his life opening it for him. Will you, dear?
She turns her milky eyes to Henry. Henry stares blankly, shaking his head.
See? OK, so how about both of you open it for Daddy then? But Lilly gets to read the tag out loud.
The children jump for joy and skip their filthy feet across the room. Lilly snatches the tag from the present and coughs in the prim and proper manner she saw Uncle Paul doing when he gave his speech on the DVD of Mummy and Daddy's wedding. But the muddiness clagging up her voice will never be cleared out no matter how hard she tries.
Dear Henry, that's you, Daddy.
Very good. Wasn't it good, Henry?
Henry still struggles to push anything through the fear closing his throat, and Lou slaps him across the thigh. The bent fingers of her hand flap sickly. Lou smiles at him and gives him a cheery little wink.
Now, Lilly, my dear, what does the rest say?
It says, Dear Henry, I hope you are happy with your wish. Wait, did Daddy get a wish as well as a present?
That doesn't matter, honey. Just read.
Lilly tries to clear her throat again before she continues. She huffs and pulls the best grumpy face she can at Henry to show him how upset she is that he got given not only a wish and a present, but now a letter too.
Like I mentioned in my letter to you, I am a believer in the chance for
Lilly shows a tag to her brother and he whispers the word she is struggling with into her ear. With a hesitant smile, she says the word retribution and looks to Benji for approval. He nods and she goes on, happy with herself for getting such an adult-sounding word correct.
In case my instructions were not followed fully, you will find this gift may just help you along. Henry, I do not do this for everybody, but I see good in you. So make the most of my generosity and don't forget to enjoy this treasured moment with your loved ones. Good luck, your friend in the north, Santa.
Lilly throws a tag onto the floor and both children go to work, tearing through the Santa wrapping with razor efficiency. When they're done, a plain cardboard box stands there in front of them. A red ribbon is tied around it in a bow that holds all the sides together. The children jump to try and grab the rabbit ears dangling down, but neither can reach. So Lou stands and hobbles over to them. After peering in through the top, she looks back at Henry with as much glee that can reflect from a dead woman.
My dear, I'm not sure who's going to love this more, you or me.
She hooks the ribbon with one of her disjointed fingers and pulls. As all four sides of the box quiver and fall to the floor, Henry screams through an O of horrified shock when he sees his brother's wife standing there, naked, with a Hessian bag clenched between her teeth that has the words seasoning stamped across the front. Her hands are bound in front of her with what looks like ropes of streaky bacon. Her feet are tied together with the same. Clutched beneath her palm are sprigs of rosemary, and her skin glistens with dollops and smears of white grease. Her eyes look at Henry, huge and wet with tears. From behind a Hessian gag, Henry hears her mumble his name.
Lou, what is this? Please, get her out of that, please.
Should we, kids? Should we let your Aunt Marcy go free after all that she's done?
Both children shake their heads slowly with malice parting their dead blue lips. A muffled scream ekes out from behind the bag of seasoning in Marcy's mouth.
Kids, please, let your auntie go. She's got nothing to do with this.
Really, Henry?
Henry stares at her, stunned. She can't know. They were so careful, before and after, so careful. A black grin snakes across Lou's torn lips.
Lou, please, don't do this.
But you heard what that tag said about not following Santa's instructions, didn't you?
Henry can't think. He searches his memory for the answer, but with everything that has happened, there are just too many atrocities to trip over. There was something about retribution, but he read the letter. He read it all, didn't he? Even the small writing with the strange... Shit.
It doesn't have to be this way.
Yes, it does, Daddy.
Yeah, you had Santa.
See, dear, even your children know this is the only way.
How will she fit in the oven, Mummy?
Lou points to the fireplace. Now to the hearth is Henry's hatchet. Benji smiles and skips off to retrieve it like a good little boy. He hands it to his mother and Lou stumbles towards Marcy with both of her children at her side. She raises the axe in two broken hands and Marcy screams Henry's name mutely. Her eyes streaming, her face as red as cranberry sauce from the effort. But nothing stops the axe from catching all the colours of Christmas in the glare of its sharpened edge as it falls towards her. 1 year and 2 days earlier. The moon was a single headlight aiming down on Henry's parked Volkswagen. His hands were tight on the wheel, but his eyes clenched shut, and his mind on not wanting it to end. Not yet. But Marcy was better at this than Lou, and he couldn't keep his composure. Marcy popped her head up and kissed him on the mouth. The taste of them both only made him want her even more, but this had to stop. He loved his family too much to let such basic urges drive them away. It's the reason he had to see Marcy tonight. Even though Lou wanted him to go with her and the kids to Santa's grotto, he had to tell her this was over. The stress and the guilt of all that sneaking around just wasn't worth it. The only problem was, Marcy was far more convincing than he ever could be. The green glow of the clock on the dashboard said it was 6:15. Lou was due back home from the grotto at 7 and they were supposed to watch Home Alone with the kids and snuggle in the warmth of mince pies and eggnog. Henry started the engine, unable to summon enough courage to say what was needed. Marcy's jilted eyes went to her lap as she slipped her wedding ring back on.
You've not even got the time for pillow talk anymore. That's it. No thank you. Not even a fuck you. You just zip up and leave. How very fucking charming.
Stop it. This was never supposed to be anything deep. You knew that. I can't keep
But
doing
why
this.
can't it be? Why can't we be together?
You know why, Marcy. I can't keep doing this. I love my family.
5 minutes after having your dick in my mouth, you think you have the right to say that?
Had Henry known it was always going to end up being more than just a bit of fun for her? If he was honest with himself, then yes. He did, because her relationship with Paul had become more than a little fractured over the past few years. Henry should have called it months ago. Fuck that. He should have never started it in the first place. Henry switched off the engine and the road fell back into darkness. He shifted around in his seat to face her. This was it. This was the moment the last few months all came to an end. He sighed, took her by the hand and looked into her glistening moonlit eyes.
Henry!
It's over between us.
I thought you loved me. I thought we had a future together. You Bannermans are all the same. Fuck you!
Marcy whipped her hand away from his and slapped him hard across the face, the ball of her palm knocking bright lights across Henry's vision. Those spots of light dancing through his eyes, along with the moonlight glare of the windshield, disorientated him to the headlights of the minivan coming around the corner behind them. Henry turned on the engine and, without looking, pulled the car out onto the road. The smell of roast meat fills the dining room. Marcy sits opposite Henry across the dinner table, barely conscious. Her eyes rolling back, her head lolling forward. Her naked body is soaked in the slick sheen of blood from the arm Lou hacked away so brutally, swing after swing with the hatchet. She can't live this way much longer. Henry has to save her before he can save himself from this terrifying dream come true. He pulls against the fairy lights binding his hands behind the chair until the tendons in his shoulders feel like they might tear. There is no give. He tries his feet, just the same. When did his children get so damn good at tying knots? Benji and Lilly skip in to set the table. Dean Martin has been replaced by Perry Como, and the children sing along as they lay out the cutlery, the crackers, and bowl after bowl of steaming hot food. Roast potatoes crisped up just the way everybody loves them. Mashed potatoes for the heathens that shun the roasties. Parsnips and carrots drizzled in honey and herbs. Brussels sprouts tossed in bacon chunks. Enormous balls of stuffing. Lou's best ever Yorkshire puddings, pigs in blankets, breaded mushrooms, cranberry sauce, gravy sitting in the heirloom gravy boat handed down through generations of Henry's family for no other reason than that's just what was done. And finally, bread slathered in proper butter to mop up all the salty dregs at the end. Everything is there in attendance but one thing, the most important item to any Christmas dinner: the bird. But then Lou saves the day when she shuffles awkwardly into the dining room, carrying the same silver platter that has displayed the Bannerman Christmas pride and joy. This year, however, she has whipped up something far more special for her beloved family to get their teeth stuck into. Henry sees the ring Marcy always removed before they would meet, still clinging to the loose, roasted crackling of her wedding ring finger. The Guns N' Roses tattoo she had done in her late teens is now faded under the heavy tan of her baked skin. Her red painted nails charred to black it is all too much to look at and he fights not to throw up. But when Lou dumps a platter of meat down onto the centre of the table with a clattering thud, the smell hits him so much harder now that the cause of it is fully steaming in front of him, and Henry can't fight it any longer.
Now, it looks like Daddy may have had too much eggnog before dinner.
Lilly runs up to her side and Lou wraps her arms around her. Lilly flashes her black teeth at Henry.
Smells good, Mummy. Can I have the knuckles? Got to keep my teeth good and strong, don't I, Daddy?
Lou strokes her hair as they both watch Henry coughing and spluttering in his chair.
Of course you can, my love. But first, be a good girl and fetch your daddy a clean plate, would you?
Lilly skips over to Henry and drags his plate away, leaving a trail of vomit behind her on the table and across the carpet as she goes. She grabs a fresh plate from the kitchen and drops it down in front of him, covering up the stains on the festive reindeer tablecloth. Marcy springs awake to the sound of the plate chiming against the table. She tries to focus and figure out what the hell it is she is seeing in front of her, and suddenly, realization shatters her silence with a scream. Benji slaps his hands over his ears and Lou plonks down hard in her seat next to him. She glares at Marcy.
Aunt Marcy will calm down in a second or two. Won't you?
Lou waits patiently, trying to drum her broken fingers against the table as Marcy eventually quietens down to a sob.
That's better. Now then, let's get the festivities underway, shall we? Family?
Lilly and Benji take their seats next to their aunt and pull their crackers together. Lilly cheers at winning the prize from both, and Benji huffs and pulls his shoulders up around his earth-crusted ears. Lou looks at Henry and holds her cracker out to him. Henry, with no free hand to take it, looks at it with disdain. Lou's smile turns sour, and she slams her cracker back down onto the table.
What, mine no longer entices you, huh, Henry? Not since you started pulling on this whore's cracker.
A whimper comes from Marcy when Benji rams his finger into the open wound of her shoulder and sucks it clean.
Please don't do this. You don't have to do this. Henry, it's over between us, all right? I might not have understood that before. I should have listened to you then. I should have left you alone to grieve. I'm sorry, Henry. I'm sorry.
Lilly grabs one of her aunt's roasted fingers and snaps it from the bone. Benji tears a slice of forearm away. The skin is crisped to perfection from all that juicy rendered fat. Together they crunch their way through it with smacking lips and chomping teeth, grinning and making hungry moans with every mouthful, their paper crowns slipping down over their filthy heads. Lou puts a Brussels sprout in her mouth, rolls it around a few times and spits it across the table. It bounces off Marcy's chin with an oily slap and she starts to cry again. He needs to get the onus off of her. It's not fair that she has to take the full brunt of a decision made by two.
Please, Lou, blame me for this, but not Marcy. It was me who instigated the whole thing. Me who approached her. Just let her go and we can sort this all out between us.
You want to sort this all out, do you, Henry? Like she sorted you out? Like she sorted you out on the night you got us killed? Was that why you didn't see us coming down that road? Or did you pull out and send us into that tree because you preferred this whore over me?
Henry bolts. How could she know it was them? Christ, he hadn't even realised who they'd left there to die on that moonlit night. Not until he got the call to say he needed to get to the hospital. All the pain floods back, and Lou smiles at Henry's reaction.
It's a funny thing, Henry. When you die, you get to relive the moment over and over again in an endless cycle. Every horrific second, dissected and replayed. The pain, the screams, everything. It all slows down so that you see things you didn't in the moment. Things like your license plate, that stupid furry dice hanging from your rearview mirror, You two sitting either side of it. The flash of your wedding ring as you turned the wheel.
She reaches over and breaks the roasted arm at the wrist and pulls it away with a crispy snap.
But you said I could have the knuckles, Mummy.
In a bit, my love.
Lou's voice goes from spite to loving like a switch being hit. She waves Marcy's hand in front of Henry's face and that switch gets turned right back on again.
But what I didn't see was what it was that distracted you so much. So tell me, oh loving hubby of mine, was it her lips? Hands? I know it wasn't both hands. You know your memory is getting worse the older you get. Was it this one?
Lou thrusts the hand into Henry's lap and grinds it against him. Marcy screams. When the phone in the kitchen rings, Lou stops mashing and stands up.
Now who could that be? Don't they know it's Christmas Day?
She chucks a hand at Lilly like tossing scraps to a dog, and Lilly goes to work on the knuckle she wanted so badly. From across the table, Marcy looks at Henry through glazed eyes.
You have to stop this. You have to put a stop to this, Henry. Please.
Whispering softly enough not to disturb the children happily tearing through their meat, he promises her that he will find a way. He struggles in his chair, wriggling his wrists together to try to get just a little slack into the cord of lights, and stops when he hears Lou talking from in the kitchen.
Oh, hi there, Paul. Yes, I'm back. I know. Yes, it really is me, this time.
This time? This time, Henry thinks. Nah, screw that. He pushes the thought aside. This is it. This is our only chance. He takes a deep breath and calls out his brother's name. Marcy stares at him from across the table with narrowed eyes as if to say, "What the hell are you doing, Henry?" But what is she thinking? He knows she doesn't want Paul dragged into this, but he's their only chance of survival right now. She has to let their secrets go if they want to live. He calls his brother's name a second time. Lou slams the phone down and comes storming back into the room.
That was very, very silly, Henry, dearest. Kids, set another place at the table. Your Uncle Paul's coming for dinner.
The children clap their hands together as they run off into the kitchen.
Lou, Paul has nothing to do with any of this. He doesn't know.
Doesn't know what? That his brother wiped out his own family or that he's sticking his dick in his wife?
It's over. It has been since that night. I'm not that much of a monster, Lou. I loved you. I love you, Lou. Don't you understand how hard it's been here without you?
Lou slams her hands down on the table. Crockery jangles nervously. Cutlery chimes.
How fucking dare you! Allowing yourself to wallow like you're the victim. How dare you feel anything but remorse and hatred towards yourself? You fucked this woman, Henry, and then you came home to cuddle your children with the arms you held her in. You kissed me with the lips you did God only knows what to her with. You drove us off that road and you left us there to die, hoping to cover up yet more of your sordid sins.
Don't you think that if I had known it was you in that car, that I would have done something to save you?
That is not the point. Us or someone else, you were willing to let people die to hide what you did. And you let Paul, this woman's husband, your own brother, comfort you for your loss, knowing all of that. You let him be there for you in your time of need, and you still wallow. You fucking wallow and pine after everything you yourself eradicated from your own life. You're a selfish, despicable man, and you deserve nothing more than to be forever on Santa's naughty list.
She pulls the living room door open and limps angrily away. She's right, Henry thinks. He really is the monster he has been telling himself he isn't. He does deserve this. He does deserve to die. Wait, not die. What was it she said? To forever be on Santa's naughty list. Had she really said that? Henry hears her moving something about in the living room. He leans back in his chair, pulling the strings of lights deeper into his flesh to try to see what she's up to, and gets a glimpse of her moving the logs out of the fireplace. Marcy catches his attention. Behind her eyes she is drifting away, like a child not wanting to give in to sleep in fear of missing out.
It's over, okay? Me and you. I get it, Henry. I'll stop calling. I'll stop coming over and trying to convince you. I'll stop, okay? Just please, put an end to this. Please. I don't have to die for a point to be made.
Marcy, shut up. You don't need to give her any excuse to hurt you more than she already has done. When Paul gets here, he'll get us out of this. You just need to hold on and keep quiet until then.
She hurt me? Oh my God. I really am gonna die.
Marcy hangs her head. Her tears flood onto the tablecloth. The children come rushing back into the room with a fresh plate and cutlery and lay a new place at the table next to Marcy. Lilly is still chewing away on one of the knuckles. The half-gnawed finger hangs out the side of her mouth and bounces with each grinding bite as she builds up the strength in her brittle little teeth. Benji puts a pale hand on Marcy's shoulder and asks her kindly if everything is all right.
Fuck no! Everything is not fucking all right.
Auntie Marcy said a bad word.
A loud thud comes from the living room and Lou starts speaking to someone.
Here, let me help you. Thank you for coming. I know you're a busy man.
Henry shoots a surprised look at Marcy. Paul couldn't have gotten here so quickly, could he?
Paul! Paul! Don't come in here. Get out. Call the police.
Henry watches the door. The children watch the door. Marcy doesn't take her eyes off Henry. At first, when he walks in, Henry wonders why Paul is dressed up like Santa. But then the children run up to him and try to wrap their arms around the large expanse of his waist, failing to get even an eighth of the way around him, and he greets them by name, in the voice that is as far from Paul as it can get.
Oh, thank you, my dear. It's so good to see you all. And the children have been so good trying to help their father like this. However, it seems as if he is beyond help.
You can say that again. I've been trying, but I don't think he's ready.
He certainly doesn't look ready. Pity. I thought, given the chance, that he would choose good.
Santa pulls out a notepad from his inside pocket. With his pen poised over the paper, Santa looks at Henry with one brow raised.
Oh, that does it. Naughty list it is. Naughty list, unless...
He holds his palm out, motioning to the roasted arm on the table, and grins. Henry writhes in his chair, hoping to hear the snapping sound of breaking cables from behind his back, but the lights binding him remain bright and tight.
What do you want from me?
Oh, my boy. Did you read my letter in full as I instructed? No.
Henry, what is all this?
Marcy, shut the fuck up, will you?
Oh, that's not nice, Henry. Poor Marcy would not be suffering in this way if you had followed my instructions in the first place.
Lou moves behind Marcy and puts her hands on her shoulders, but Marcy doesn't seem to notice. Her eyes keep locked to Henry. Santa walks up to the table with the children hanging off his side like guppies clinging to the belly of a shark, and he picks up the roasted arm and sniffs it.
Oh, well, you see, your wish was to spend one more day with your family, which, believe it or not, is a wish many people ask of me. Hence all of the bureaucracy. Yes. Now, it clearly states in clause 56.4 that when it comes to granting wishes of resurrection, If the dead perished under malicious circumstances at the hand of the wishmaker themselves, that's you, my boy. I, the wish granter, Santa Claus, can only bring them back in the state in which they perished. It goes on to say, in clause 56.5, that, in such cases, the wishmaker must take full responsibility of righting the wrongs that led to the death in the first place. And, if they do so, before the dawn of Christmas Day, the resurrection can be tailored to the wishmaker's exact desire. But in your case, Henry, you have failed to adhere to these conditions. Bringing into effect Clause 56.5.1, where the dead are allowed the privilege of taking their revenge, however bloody and brutal it may be.
He looks at Lou, who watches on with her stitched, pitted lips turned up into a sneering grin, and he gives her a little wink. Terms and conditions, Henry thinks. All that small writing in block sections he didn't read because all he could think about was the promise of his dreams coming true.
Oh, but not to worry, my dear boy. There is still a way around this. Luckily for you, your, may I say, gorgeous wife has agreed to Clause 56.5.1, Amendment 2. Amendment 2 states that if the wrongdoer repents wholly for their acts and does everything, and I mean everything, that the deceased puts forward as a suggestion to what would make things right in their eyes, then the wisher will get everything they originally wished for, exactly the way they wanted it.
He tears off a string of skin from the roasted arm and nibbles at it. He gives Lou a thumbs up and turns back to Henry.
Oh, yummy! She's perfectly cooked. I knew it wouldn't be wasted in your capable hands, my dear. Now, in your case, Henry, a suggested act of retribution from your lovely wife here is for you to devour that which devoured your family. Oh, how very poetic.
Henry, please!
Quit your whining, wench.
Oh, tell me about it. Whatever did you see in her, Henry?
Oh, she's not much to look at any longer, is she, Henry? Was it worth it? I think not. But you can wipe the slate clean if you choose, Henry. All you have to do is eat. Eat, my boy. And all that punishes you will go away. Oh, and just like that, happy families once more. And undoubtedly the best bit, you go right back on my nice list.
He holds the cooked arm out under Henry's nose. Even though it comes in the disguise of a choice, Henry knows there is only one option for him. Marcy can't be saved, but he still can be. His family stand over him watching with bated smiles. He looks each one in their dead white eyes. He can have the chance to bring them back properly this time and to love them again. He turns to Marcy, the woman who drove the lust in him which sucked his world completely dry. Choices, choices, choices.
So, Henry, what will it be?
Marcy spits a wad of blood that flies across the table at him and falls short.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Henry bites down into the cooked flesh of her. The crisp skin breaks under his teeth as they sink into the dark meat beneath. Oil and fat fill his mouth and coat his tongue. Instantly at the taste, hunger seizes him, and Henry takes another bite, and another, and another, and he feeds until his teeth grind against bone. His family laugh and clap. Santa smiles down at him. Marcy screams. Henry's face shines with grease.
I've done what you wanted. Now let me go and give me back my family.
Santa's head flies back as he croaks out that famous booming belly laugh of his, and he wipes away the tears of laughter from his pork-coloured cheeks with the back of his black leather glove.
Oh, my boy. I said devour.
He holds up the chewed arm, the flesh just strings of grey hanging from the bone.
Oh, this was merely a snack. And a rather palatable one, thanks to your wife's fantastic culinary skills.
He points a finger at Marcy, quivering in her seat, her eyes round with fear, her head shaking from side to side, her mouth moving, but saying no words.
Oh, I'm afraid this next part will not be easy. But then, the good things in life rarely are.
Kids, it's time. Go and get your Aunt Marcy and bring her over here to Daddy.
Marcy tries to fight them away with her remaining arm and her kicking feet, but another backhander from Santa puts a stop to all that needless struggle. Santa helps the children lift her onto the table, and they lay her out flat in front of Henry. Santa grabs a carving knife from the platter and holds it in the air.
Now, who wants to cut the first slice?
Mummy, please give it to me.
Afraid not, kids. Carving the bird is your daddy's job, you know that. Now, go and untie him.
Both children huff their way over to their father with heavy shoulders of dejection leading them. They untie him, and Lou offers Henry the knife, handle first. Henry looks at it, nervous of the damage he is about to do, and slowly wraps his fingers around the black wooden handle. Marcy sobs up at him from the table. The last slap from Santa has brought a bruise to the surface of her right cheek. There's a spinning distance behind her eyes. She won't live for long without help, and help isn't coming anytime soon. Lou smiles as she lets go of the blade. Henry may have killed her once already, but he can't do it a second time, not if he wants her back. Marcy's eyes drip with meaningless pleas. The least Henry can do now is make it quick. But he puts the knife to her throat, her sobs causing her flesh to bob about under its blade, and with the taste of her clawing at the back of his throat, Henry makes his first cut. The police told Paul to wait, but he can't. His brother is in trouble. When he pulls up outside the house, he can see the dining room light glowing through the rest of the darkened rooms. He looks in the rear view. There still aren't any flashing lights bouncing off the horizon yet. He can't wait any longer. He steps out of the car and snow crunches as he steps cautiously towards the front door, where usually, at this time of year, Lou's huge inflatable Santa would be there to greet him, and he wishes that Henry could have at least made the effort to put up a few decorations. Just a sliver of Christmas might have made him feel better. It might have kept out the demons that were taking up residence inside his head. He creeps up to the house, trying to keep his footsteps as quiet as possible, and peers in through the living room window. The place is a mess. The armchair is turned over. He looks at what appears to be black dirt trod into the carpet, and he thinks about what the police officer told him over the phone about Lou and the kids' graves. He can't believe it. He won't believe it. Henry is grief-stricken. He's not crazy. That's when Paul notices the hatchet lying there on its side next to a huge cardboard box. The splatters of blood surrounding it have him pulling out his fishing knife and tightening his grip on the pearl handle. The front door is unlocked. Paul eases it open and steps inside the house. The smell hits him and he throws his arm up around his face to stop from vomiting. He hears talking coming from the dining room. It's Henry, but it's not Henry. He's talking in that same voice he answered the phone to him with. He should go back to the car and wait for the police. He knows it, but he finds himself tiptoeing through the hallway and into the living room despite it. The smell is getting stronger the closer to the dining room he gets. Paul pulls his arm tighter over his face and his nails dig half moons into his palm from gripping the knife handle. His heart beats so hard he can barely hear the scraping of cutlery against porcelain, the pitter-patter of something dripping, and Henry still talking in that strange voice. No, wait. It's more than just one voice. Peering around the dining room door, Paul can't believe what he sees. Sitting there, around the dinner table are 3 rotting bodies, their skin like dusty crepe paper pulled tight over their skulls now that the flesh beneath has melted away. Their deep, cavernous eye sockets hold spiritless gazes. On their heads sit paper cracker crowns. Their hands, skeletal and stiff, have been placed on the table in front of them. Each has a plate. He only recognises them by the clothes he helped Henry pick out for their funerals. The police were right about his brother. He should have listened. Scattered across the table are stripped bones and slabs of flesh. The tablecloth is saturated with blood that pours onto the floor, pooling around Henry's bare feet as he carves through a human leg. The foot flops about, hitting against Henry's dessert spoon with every soaring motion he takes to cut through the flesh. The toenails have been painted in a colour he knows all too well. The words, "Oh my God," fall from Paul's mouth before he can stop them. Henry turns, his face covered in blood, the valleys of his teeth filled with it. He smiles and a piece of Marcy dangles from his chin and wiggles when he speaks.
Hiya, Paul! Come sit with us. The kids laid a place specially.
He jabs his knife at the seat next to him where the inflatable Santa sits airless and folded over the back of the chair.
Meet Santa, cool, huh? He really is real. Why, hello there, Paul. It's wonderful to finally meet you after all these years.
He carves off Marcy's little toe and crunches through it.
Is that...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
About Marcy. I was meaning to tell you that.
Fuck have you done, Henry?
I should have told you sooner. I know. I'm sorry, I didn't. But it's okay now, Paul. I'm fixing it all. You see, there was a special clause in the contract. You could say it was a Santa Claus.
The shattering sound of tiny bones fills Paul's throat with bile. He gags against it, fighting the urge to vomit. Henry takes another bite of Marcy and shrugs his shoulders. Stabbing his fork into the shin of the leg, he throws his head back, spraying blood and flecks of Marcy up into the air as he bellows out a booming ho, ho, ho. He hears sirens now. The slamming of car doors is followed by the crisp sound of feet stepping through snow. Henry wriggles his fork free and glances out the window at the approaching shadows. He observes them peacefully for a moment before going back to his dinner, and the Bannerman family watch on with fixed, dead stares as they wait patiently for Daddy to finish, excited that soon they will all finally get to be together again.